Once upon a time, in a village nestled between green hills, there lived a bright and curious girl named Mili. She loved exploring and daydreaming. One day, while it was raining cats and dogs, Mili sought shelter in her grandmother's attic. It was filled with all sorts of fascinating things. And in the corner, covered in dust, sat an old wooden box with a tiny keyhole. Evilly, Mili turned the key. Suddenly, the room filled with magical music, and right before her eyes, a shimmering doorway appeared. Taking a deep breath, Mili stepped through. On the other side lay a meadow, bathed in golden light. Above her, a crystal-clear sky was filled with musical notes that twirled and danced like shooting stars. From behind a nearby bush, a cheerful dog wearing a blue hat jumped out and barked, "Welcome to Harmonia, the land where every sound paints colors in the sky." "I'm Mili," she said, smiling at the dog. "What a beautiful place." "I'm Ludo, your guide and companion during your stay here," replied the dog. "And what brings you to Harmonia?" Just then, a wise parrot with rainbow feathers landed on Ludo's head. "Ludo, my dear fellow, would you be a dear and tell our visitor about our current predicament?" "Oh, right," said Ludo, scratching his ear. "We're in a bit of a jam. You see, the music box that brought you here is losing its magic. Without its enchanting tunes, the people of Harmonia have forgotten how to create music. And without music, the colors in the sky are fading away." "I want to help," said Mili. The parrot, whose name was Melody, explained that, to restore the music box, Mili needed to find 3 lost notes. The first lay hidden in a field, guarded by riddles. The second rested in a glowing forest, hidden from sight. And the third note could be found in a crystal cave guarded by grumpy rock trolls. With a determined nod, Mili set off on her quest. Soon, she came across a wide field, dotted with flowers of every color. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't find the first note. Up ahead, she heard a small voice. "Lost! Little girl! I know a secret path to the forest. Follow me." It was a tiny mouse wearing a red cap. "Thank you," said Mili. "And what's your name?" "Call me Temple, the fastest mouse in Harmonia." As they hurried along, Mili noticed that although the flowers were pretty, they looked rather gloomy. Kneeling down, she asked a nearby daisy, "Why aren't you singing? Little flower, you used to have the prettiest tune." The daisy sighed. "Since the music box stopped playing, I've forgotten my song. And without music, we flowers lose our voices and our colors." Touched by her sadness, Mili promised to bring back the music. Then she and Tempo arrived at the forest's edge. Its trees once glowed with bioluminescence, but now stood dark and lifeless. "How can we find the second note in this gloomy forest?" wondered Mili. Suddenly, a blue butterfly fluttered past. "Looking for something or someone?" asked Tempo. "I am," said Mili. "We're looking for the second lost note. Can you help us?" "Of course," replied the butterfly. "Follow me." They flew deep into the forest until they reached a clearing. There, in the center, bathed in a soft glow, was a magnificent tree with leaves of silver and gold. At its base sat the second lost note. As they approached, a family of hedgehogs peeked out from behind some logs. "Hello," said Mili. "Why do you hide instead of playing together?" "We're not very good at making music, so we hide while others play," replied one of the hedgehogs. "But without music, our spines lose their shine and we can't prickle for defense," added another. "If you want to help us regain our prickly pride, take this note and play us a song." Touched by their sadness, Mili promised to find the final note and bring back the music. And so, with the 2 notes in hand, Mili and her companions continued their journey. They raced past the crystal cave, for Mili knew the trolls would sense the music and stop her from collecting the third note. Instead, she and Tempo snuck into a nearby cave, where a family of bats hung upside down. "Excuse me," said Mili. "Could you help me find the last lost notes? We need to restore the music box." "The music box?" exclaimed one of the bats. "I remember hearing a beautiful tune coming from there long ago. Every night, I'd fly through the cave and listen to the enchanting melody." Then he led them deeper into the cave, where they found sparkling crystals growing on the walls. In the center sat the third lost note. With all 3 notes in hand, Mili returned to the meadow where she'd started her adventure. There, the music box shimmered, waiting for its magic to be restored. Closing her eyes, Mili played the first note. The flowers perked up, their colors returning. She played the second note and the forest came alive with glowing plants and happy animals. Finally, she played the third note and rainbows arced across the sky, filling Harmonia with music and joy once more. Ludo barked happily, Melody sang with delight, and Tempo squeaked with joy. Then they all raced to Mili's side, thanking her for restoring Harmonia. Before leaving, she placed the music box by her window, knowing that with a little curiosity and kindness, there was magic to be found everywhere. And so, whenever she felt sad or bored, she just had to turn the key to bring the wonder and excitement back into her life.